US headquartered Amway is one of the world's leading direct selling companies in the nutrition, health, beauty and wellness space. The company reported $7.4 billion in sales in 2024. Based in Ida, Michigan, USA, the company was founded in 1959 and has been present in India since 1998. Amway began manufacturing operations in the country in 2015. Today, the company is actively looking at expanding operations and sales in India, including in the Ayurveda space. Joining us right now to speak about Amway's global plans and India strategy is Doug DeVos, co-chairman of the board of directors for Amway. Doug was previously the president of Amway for 16 years and joined the company in 1986. Doug, thank you so much for joining us here during your India visit. Tell us about the importance of India in your global vision for Amway going forward.
Well, absolutely. So, India is going to be is already and will continue to grow and be a dynamic marketplace. And you can easily see that it's going to be one of the top three economies in the world, right? With, India, the United States, China, you can see where that's going to happen. And so India has a huge role in the Amway business for us going forward. We see that potential and we see that we believe we can bring to the marketplace products and services and operational excellence that allows us to compete in the marketplace here and be very successful. We saw that years and years ago. We continue to see that now. And our opportunity and our job is to make sure we continue to stay close to the dynamic nature of this marketplace and that we continue to meet the needs of the consumer, that we continue to meet the needs that the market is demanding and find a strong pathway forward for success. So India plays a huge role in the future of Amway globally.
Could you give us a sense of the kind of growth that you're expecting from the India market? How do you expect the India market to contribute to your overall revenues in the next 5 to 10 years?
Absolutely. So we see the growth here being very solid and strong. And we don't want to try to make assumptions or guess. Our job is to go to work every day and do the right things every day. We believe if we work hard and make sure we're a better company tomorrow than we were today and even better the next day, that the growth will follow. Once we are better, we believe bigger follows. And we see that the potential of this market, if you look at other markets in similar situations, you can see repeated double-digit growth in the near-term horizon. Those would be sorts of the ideas that we look at. But what we want to do is make sure that growth continues year after year after year, that we build a solid foundation around that growth to support that growth. We don't want to just pursue growth for growth's sake. We have a long-term vision here, and we know that India has a huge role in the Amway business, not just with its size, but with the way it can help us learn how to be a better business, how to be a better company, how we have to adapt to changing marketplaces like we've learned in other parts of the world. But we know India is going to teach us a number of very important lessons in the next 5 to 10 years. And we're excited to be part of it and really looking forward to the times ahead. We have a great team that is dedicated at doing this work and doing it well.
You know, Doug, we are in a volatile geopolitical environment, and the U.S. president has already said that reciprocal tariffs are going to come into effect from the 2nd of April. How do you think this is going to impact American companies? And are American companies largely in favor of these reciprocal tariffs?
You know, every industry or every company is going to be looking at some of the moves that the U.S. government is making from their own perspective. They're going to try to figure it out and deal with it. The main thing that comes through in my mind is perspective. You know, U.S. policy has changed many times. I'm old enough to have seen different changes in U.S. policy and, and the way we approach trade in different markets. And so I try to take a more moderate view of the latest thing that's being discussed. So tariffs are the big thing being discussed today. I try to say, okay, I understand that, but but they're going to be part of the bigger picture, the longer term picture. And my impression is that there's a strong desire to engage in global trade, but on a little different terms maybe than the U.S. has done it in the past. And so I think there will be a lot of discussion, but how things settle out and how trade relationships get built, going forward, I think we'll still have many of the similar characteristics. We really are pursuing free and fair trade in a rule-based sort of system. And so while there's a lot of different talk about how to get there today, and there's a lot of reaction to it, I think over the long term, a lot of those questions will get answered, and it will lead us to a stronger and more sustainable trade strategy or trade policy going forward.
Right. How does this impact, this trade uncertainty, tariff uncertainty, impact companies like yours and their plans? How do you think 2025 or even the next 2 years are going to be for the company? Would you like to invest more, explore more, or would you like to hold on till the time you see some clarity on what's going to happen on the tariff front and where the dust eventually settles over the next 8 to 9 months?
Yeah, that's such a great question, and it's such a challenging question because business craves for certainty. You want to know exactly what you're investing in and what's going to happen, but we don't live in a world of certainty. We live in a world where things change all the time. So our mindset is that now is the only time we have. We're going to have to make the best of the current situation, so we continue to look at what's happening. We have to make our best estimates at where the future is going to shake out and still make decisions to move forward today. We don't believe we can just wait for things to get calm or for everything to get settled, because we don't think that's ever going to happen. It's always going to be a changing and dynamic marketplace. So as we look at our investments, again, we invested in our manufacturing here in India. We invest in our R&D. We invest in our product development. We invest in our operational excellence. We invest in our technology. And we're going to have to keep doing all those sorts of things in the midst of maybe an uncertain environment. But that's we do not see some of the volatility around the world holding us back. We just see that as something that's always going to exist, but we have to be clear about who we are, how we serve the marketplace, how we serve our customers, how we serve all of our Amway business owners and our employees. And when, like I said earlier, when we're better, then the bigger part tends to take care of itself, and we'll make adjustments for the newer situations that come along, as things develop in the future. But we don't wait. We continue to move right now.
India and US are negotiating a broad trade agreement. In fact, the consensus is to have a bilateral trade agreement by the end of the year. How do you think such a bilateral trade agreement will be for both US and India?
I think it'll be fantastic. I think anytime you can find an agreement, especially between two dynamic countries and dynamic economies like the U.S. and India, I think you will find a lot of synergy that will build on itself, and you will find that starts to create some of the certainty that we were talking about earlier, and maybe some of the other businesses that look at things a little different or are waiting for that certainty, maybe that's when they see the opportunity to act. And I believe that with that sort of a foundation, if that were to happen, and I do have a sense that it will happen in a good way, that that it will grow on itself. It will become even more than what could be expected at the onset, because these are very dynamic economies, and there's a lot of people in both the United States and India that would be very interested in how we can learn from each other, how we can grow together, and how we can approach the market in even better ways going forward. So I'm encouraged. I'm really happy to hear as you speak of these talks and to see those things develop, and trust that it will turn into agreement at some point, hopefully soon.
When it comes to the ease of doing business ecosystem, Amway has now been around in India for close to 3 decades. What do you think can be easier for companies to do business? There is also a regulatory overhang that Amway has been facing in India in the form of a probe that has been going on. If you were to make some recommendations on ease of doing business for companies like yours to really prosper, create jobs, create more manufacturing, what would that road and recommendation be?
What a great question. What a great opening. There's always things that we would hope for from a regulatory or an operational environment here in India that would make it easier to operate. You mentioned the technology investments that we've made, that a number of companies in India have made as India's pursued digital India, and I think sometimes it takes a while for a lot of the regulations to catch up with where the industry really is or where the marketplace really is. So my hope would be, without trying to dive into specifics, my hope would be that the respective government agencies would really be working closely hand in hand with what industries are doing and watching them, learning from them, applying the appropriate regulatory oversight. That's what they need to do. We understand that. But there's a number of things that just are not productive, either for the government or for protecting consumers or for industry. And those would be the ones that you would like to think that there could be very quick action to say, these are outdated regulations, they don't really apply to the marketplace today, they don't apply to the technology that's being used, and therefore we're going to take those off the books, because if they're still on the books, we as a company and industries and others like us have to comply. And so those are the things that can become a drag on the economy if the regulators aren't working or aren't looking to the future like the marketplace is or like the businesses are. And so it would be my hope that in this dynamic tension of moving forward and how technology is changing things for so many people so quickly, that the government and our regulators would continue to be part of that journey with us and find ways to streamline, because when that happens, as you mentioned, there can be more investment, there's more jobs created, there's more opportunity created, there's better products and services that are brought to the marketplace, and it increases prosperity for everybody in the process.
All right, so that's all we had time for on this special broadcast. Amway clearly bullish on the India market, and they are expecting a lot from the India-US trade deal as well. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.